on YouTube. I did not click start streaming. Hold on. Okay, let's continue our note making. Not 6. Okay. In chapter 2, you learned that simple data types are divided into 3 categories: integral, floating, and enum. In subsequent chapters, you work mainly with integer and floating point data type. In this chapter, you will learn about the enum type. The statement is used in every C++ program that uses ANSNI. The second half of the chapter examines the purpose of it. In fact, you will learn the namespace mechanism, what the namespace mechanism is. You will also learn about the string type and many useful functions you can use to effectively manipulate strings. Using namespace, okay, enumeration type. Chapter 2 define a data type as a set of values which, for example, and this. Int data type consists of integers ranging from negative to 2 trillion 147 million 147 billion no 2 billion 147 million 483,000 and 648. 2 minus 1 because you gotta count 0. 2 billion 147 million 483,000 and 647 because you gotta count 0. I gotta remove the spaces. Let's continue. You can do an arithmetic because the main objective of a program is to manipulate data. Main objective of a program is to manipulate data. And the concept of data, becomes fundamental to any programming language. By providing data to specify is legal and tell the user what kind of operator you are allowing. The system plus provides you with built-in checks against the data that you have worked on to now are mostly int, bool, that it's an int of 0 and 1. 0 means no, 1 means yes. But return, when you use it in return, 0 means successful exit, 1 means unsuccessful. Even though these data types are sufficient to solve just about any problem, situations occur when these data types are not adequate to solve. C++ provides a mechanism for users. Provide a mechanism to create your own data, which greatly enhances the flexibility. To create your own data type, their own data, which greatly. In this section, you will learn how to create your own simple data type known as enumeration. In the ensuing chapter, you will learn about advanced techniques to create complex data. To define an enumeration type, and yeah, it's an enumeration type. You need to define an enumeration type. You need a name for the data type, a set of values for the data, and a set of operations on the values. C++ lets you define a new simple data type wherein you specify its name and its value, but not the operations. Preventing you from creating their own operations help to avoid potential system failures. The values that you specify for the data type must be identifiers. Specified for the data type must be identifiers. The syntax is enum value 1. It starts at 1 or 0. Now you indicate where it starts at. With enum type name, you indicate where it starts at. If you indicate it starts at 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Our identifiers called enumerators. Let's continue. A 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So enum color 1 equals brown. Standing. 0 is freshman, 1 is sophomore, 2 is junior, 3 is junior, 0, 1, 2, 3 is senior. Illegal enumeration type. Why is it illegal? Why is it illegal? Oh, they have to be. Oh, they all have to be capital letters and basically const, and they can't be characters, and they can't have a number. Or numbers. First, second, fifth. Okay. Yep, no characters and it's just A. Declaring variables. Once a data type is defined, you can declare the variables of that type. The syntax for declaring variables are calling the enum identifier and creating like a variable for it just to use it. Okay. If I'm correct, you usually don't use enums anymore. We use something like classes. Enum assignment. Once declared, you can store value assuming the previous declaration. The enum statement: popular sport equals football. Stores football inside the popular sport. No arithmetic operations are allowed. Allowed enumeration types. You can use a case operator that uses data type. So we can increase it by 1. You have to use the static cast for enum types because you can't do arithmetic operations. You call the data type, which is the sports, enum. This is sports. Then we do the popular sport. What we want to increment the data, the variable we created of the data type sports. We add 1 to it. We increment it by 1. When you compare enum to each other, it's because it starts at 0, 1, 2, 3. It's compared like that. It's not compared based on character. It's compared based on position because of the order set of values. So 0 and 1. 0 is less than 1. So the 0 position will be less than 1 because 0 is less than 1. And 1 is, if you do 1 is greater than 0 as a comparison, 1 is greater than 0. Enumeration types and loops. Recall that enumeration type is the integral type. It's a integral type. And that using the cat operator type name, you can increment, decrement, and compare the values of the enumeration type. So only by my sport soccer, my sport, and you can use in a for loop by incrementing it. Oh shit! we're back on the ground at 40 pages. Oh god. I didn't finish my ITWP. I can't do this right now. Let's do my ITWP. This. Please. $50. But today's gonna be a long, long day. And the PlayStation 5 fell off its holder. Terms. Alert. We can autoplay arithmetic operators attribute case sensitive client side processing work comments comparison. Yeah, there's an extra I in there. But I put operators concatenation content delivery network CDN CSS debug document object event handler. Because I gotta get back in the groove because it took a couple of days now because it is break, but I forgot these classes. Listen, pay toggle. I mean, even if it's online, you have to, and you can do the quizzes online. They have some sort of system in place to make sure you're not cheating. Like if you scroll out, go back in. Phone handling. function HTML hover image swapping invoke JavaScript jQuery jQuery alias jQuery selector method null object object based on click on load on mouse out on mouse over on submit plugin pop-up window prompt property ready event reserve word script element scripting language scope server processing slide toggle string toggle var variable var to indicate it's a variable is the identifier of a var window object right okay now we are gonna write the definitions for this chapter Java script method that can add text and HTML to a web page. The browser window and the DOM document object model. A placeholder for information. Var is a JavaScript reserved word that declares a variable. Toggle is a query method that displays or hides the selected elements. String is encapsulated in quotes and may contain letters, spaces, numbers, and special characters. This is a jQuery method that displays or hides the selected elements with a sliding motion string. Server-side processing is processing performed on the web server. Scope describes the availability of a variable. This language is a type of programming language such as Java script element, HTML element that contains JavaScript. Reserved word, a term used by the script language and not available for other uses such as a variable name. Hello Katina, how are you? Ready event. An event that informs jQuery when your web page is an event that informs jQuery when your web page what page is document object model DOM has been completely loaded by the browser. Property is a characteristic of an object. Prompt method of the window object, which displays message and accepts a small browser window that may appear during action with a web page. But the problem with pop-up windows, they're intended for good use, but most of the time they're used for a horrible way. A plugin is software that extends the functionality of jQuery. On submit is the event. The event occurs when a visitor clicks the submit button on a form. On mouse over, the event that occurs when a visitor places the mouse over an element. Or is it like this? On mouse out is the event that occurs when a visitor moves mouse off an element. Then what I'm going to start doing, there is quiz, there's in the book chapter quiz. I think the teacher uses them as well. She hasn't changed it for a long time. I'm going to read those and solve it, and I should be able to get it on load. Just must unload. Is the event that occurs when a web page is displayed. A browser on click. The event that occurs when a visitor clicks an element. Object-based. Describe the aspect of JavaScript that works with the objects associated with a web page document. An object is an entity. Null is an empty string. An empty string represented by 2 double quotes or 2 single quotes. And reserved words are just not used in JavaScript, but they're used in other methods as well. Other other languages as well. A reserved keyword or a reserved word. A method is an action that can be performed on an object or entity. jQuery selector indicates when DOM elements jQuery will affect. And it's the first part of a jQuery statement. jQuery is an open source JavaScript library. JavaScript is an object based because the window, the document can all be an object. Scripting language used to manipulate objects associated with web page documents. Invoke. Call a JavaScript function. Call a JavaScript function. Image swapping. Replacing one image with another after an action taken by a web page visitor. Not visitor, or. However, jQuery method that binds a jQuery event handler to the JavaScript on mouse over event. But most people just use CSS for this nowadays, if I read the book. HTML is a jQuery method that gets or sets the HTML contents for the selected elements. A function is a block of JavaScript statements which can be run when needed and have a specific purpose. Form handling. Using an event handler or event listener to invoke a function to validate form data. Wait toggle is a jQuery method that displays or hides the selected elements by animating their opacity. They messed up. They put an F in between Etsy, so JavaScript. JavaScript coded within a script element that indicates code to execute when an event occurs. Java embedded in an HTML tag that indicates code to execute when an event occurs. Event is an action taken by the user. A document object is the web page file in the DOM. Debug, locate and correct errors in code. CSS is a jQuery method that sets the specified CSS property for the selected elements. Content Delivery Network is a repository of frequently used code and scripts. Concatenation, the combining strings using the plus symbol. Comparison operators are operators that compare values and indicate true or false. Comments are helpful notes embedded within code blocks. Click is a jQuery method that binds an element to the Java script. Click event. Client-side processing is processing performed on the web browser. Case sensitive, treating uppercase and lowercase letters as different characters. Attribute is jQuery method that gets or sets the value of an HTML attribute or the selected. I think this is, we use this one to change how big the picture is. Arithmetic operators are symbols that represent mathematical operations. Alert is a Java script method of the window object that can display a message to the user. I'm done. Okay, we can go back to C++. Okay, type, we were just talking about this. Just load the increment by one using the static cast. the initial declaration. It has to be set up beforehand. Okay. Enum Sport, My Sport. So My Sport has to be set up beforehand. Must set up enum variable beforehand. Because input and output are defined only for built-in data types such as int and art. Defined for built-in data types and can't input and output directly. Thus, you must use a switch statement or string with if and else. Because if you just directly output enum to the C out, it will just input like a 0, then a 1, then a 2. Because it's basically it creates all zeros and ones, all numeric. And it's 0. It's an order set of values from 0 to n. 0 starts at 0 and ends at n. Function, you can pass as a parameter to function just like any other symbol that is either by value or reference. Also, just like an function can return a value enumeration type using this, but you can use functions. You can use functions to input and output enumeration types. I want to know. I want to know. Okay, course is registered. Car 1. Enter the first 2 letters of the course. A. Switch car 1. Car 2 equals L, algebra, else analysis. If B, basic. If car 2 equals H, chemistry, L, CPP. Give examples. What the fuck? I wonder what was wrong with you. I wouldn't have gotten this. Or we can do courses registered, algebra analysis, case analysis. Declaring variables when you define. When you set up enum coin, when you set it up, you can after it, if you can name 2 variables, like change or US coin, you can define and create a variable and define it at the same time. A data type where you specify values in the variable declared with no type name. It's called a non-analysis type. Okay. Okay, I can read this more. A data type, I can actually read it. I don't know what they mean by anonymous data type. A data type when you directly specify values in a variable declaration with no type name. It's called anonymous. The following statement creates an anonymous type in basketball, football. Declares a variable MySQL, but no name has been given to the data. Create an anonymous type has been first because there is no name for the type. You cannot pass an anonymous type as a parameter to the function, and function cannot return an anonymous type value. Second, value used in one anonymous type can be used with variables of those types are treated. Consider the following statements. Even though they have the same values, the compiler choosing on different. The following statement is therefore illegal. Even though facilities are available, use them occur to avoid confusion. First define enumeration, then declare the variables. Okay. Always define enumeration type, then declare the variables. Because we're creating two of them. And they live on two different scopes, but we call them enumerate. I'm a dumbass. Enumeration type has no variable name, no variable enumeration identifier name. Thus, I had to look at it. I had to look at it for a second. Because you don't do this, an anonymous type, and you cannot pass. What was it? You cannot copy one into another. You cannot pass an anonymous type as a parameter to a function. A function cannot return an anonymous type. And the value used in one anonymous type can be used in another anonymous type, but the values of those types are treated different, and you cannot equal to each other. Languages cannot equal foreign languages and stuff like that. The values, like if we say the language is English, we can use it for a foreign language is French. We can change it to English. You know what I mean? Even though we now described it. And see, what you can create synonyms or aliases to briefly define data type by using the type def statement. Type def existing type name, new type name. Create the alias to an integer or the data type. Boolean type def boolean true 1. I see how it is. Let me give a small example of dealing with booleans. Okay, namespaces. Okay. Okay, this is. In July 1988. Approved. Most recent compilers are also to be actually checking. There's two standards. ISO standard has some features not available in standard C++, which the remainder talks about. I mean, I gotta remember these are 2 chapters for my C++, and there are only 17 pages of notes as so far until I go through them. When a header file such as IOStream is included in the program, the global identifiers in the header file also become the global identifiers. Therefore, if a global identifier program has the same name as one of the global identifiers, okay, gotta read it again. When a header file, such as input-output stream, is included in a program, the global identifiers when a header file is included in a program, the global identifiers in the header file also become the global identifiers in the program. Thus, if they have the same name as one of the header file's global identifiers, the compiler will generate a syntax error. When a header file is included in the program, the global identifiers in the header file will also become the global identifiers in the program. Thus, if a global identifier from the header file and a global identifier in your program have the same name, you will have a syntax error because which one is going to choose? Simple as that. Simple as pie. Can occur made worse when you have third-party libraries that do the same things. To overcome this problem, third-party begin their global identity. A special symbol to avoid linking errors. In your program file. To avoid, you should not do this in your program file. To overcome this problem, third-party vendors begin their global identifiers with a special symbol. In chapter 2, you learned that because the compiler will begin to avoid linking, you should not begin an identifier's name program. So NSI/CPP ISO standard tries to solve this problem with the namespace mechanism. Ah, that's why it's we use namespace. Ah, when you have a realization, we use this is why I love. This is why you need concept. You can't just use something without knowing the concepts, man. Members is usually named constants, variable declarations, and functions or another namespace. Namespace name is an identifier. Let me put this example. General syntax. To access all namespace members, we use using namespace many, like using namespace std. We access all the standard template definition library. And I don't think library you need to add it. It's the standard template definitions. Accessing a specific namespace number, we use your namespace name and the identifier, which can be end, rate, count, the print result, like this, for example. Rate. Oh, okay. You can use using namespace global type. Power. So we can use using namespace std export namespace expn. Oh, I see. If it has then we can just see the print results. Void. Oh, I need this in my code. I need this because it tells us how to use functions, set up functions of the. Oh, so we just call the because we're using namespace the namespace xpn, and we create the function there. Ah, this is interesting. String type. In chapter 2, you're introduced to the data type string. Recall that prior to the NSI the standard C++ library did not provide the syntax. Programmer define type and not part of the CPP language. You must use include string, which is a sequence. You can store about just about any size string. It's a sequence of 0 more characters. Closed and double quotes. Relational operators on string type you recommend. Concatenation, yes. We can access string. So good line. I gotta make sure I gotta make sure there's no like new code or something. Okay. This is an unsigned integer data type. Maximum value of the data type string size type. A number such as string variable that add returns the index at the position. Add string variable index returns the element at the position specified as index. String variable that appends and copies to the character where char is a carvel. Append string, so we can do append for how many characters we want to append per character. We can append a string. We can delete all characters in the string variable. We can compare string, but don't forget strings are compared by the AC chart. We can return. That empty clears destroys it, where the empty checks if it's empty. String variable that erase deletes all characters. So empty deletes all characters in string. The erase and that clear are the same. And we can erase the string variable. Oh, that's interesting. So if I go back to my Visual Studio project, temp holder clear. We delete it. We can erase based on positions. We can find returns the index of the first occurrence of the string. Returns the index of the first occurrence of the string. Huh. I can use my hangman. Find string var find first of returns the index of the first occurrence of any character in the string var. The search starts at position. Find first of returns the index of the first occurrence of any character of the string var in the string. The search starts at position. String var find first of not of. Return the first occurrence of any character string not in the string var. The search returns the index of the first occurrence of any character in the string. Oh, we find it not in string var. First occurrence of any character of string not in string var. Oh, this compares two strings. These two string var, we compare one string var to another character, and it finds the first occurrence where it does not equal each other. We can insert n occurrence how many times you want of characters at index position, and n are of type string size type, which is an unsigned int, unsigned string, I think. We can insert on the position. We can get the string line. We can replace. We can create a substring. Returns a string which is a substring of string var. We can get the size of it. We can swap one string for another. Yeah, I'm gonna need this. This is gonna be really important for my project. Okay. Oh, we can erase based on okay. How long is this set from 572? Not that much. I mean, what should I do is take I'm gonna take like a 30 minute to an hour break because I just went through a whole chapter and come back recharged. How long did I stream for? An hour. I mean, an hour to go through because I wrote it. Because I'm gonna hit the arrays section of my CPP. I need to be really prepared for this section because it is arrays, and with arrays, it's one of the most powerful. It's if it's not, it is one of the most powerful tools in programming from what I've seen, where it's a collection of data where you can use, and you need to understand this concept perfectly. You need to understand it really well. And I think I asked it from my usage in Python, my other usage in Java, and stuff like that. I'll be back after I take a 30 minute to hour, maybe an hour, 30 minutes. I'll be back, finish this up, and I'm gonna start studying. And well, tomorrow I'll start studying. Get up in the early morning. Well, when I get up, study, read through it, Bing, 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 boom, 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 bing. Okay. Catch you in about hour 30.